Hello diners, I thought I'd come and do a little video on emotional eating because I think it's a little bit easier to try and explain it on video than it is in a post. So I've had a lot of therapy to overcome my eating disorder, and a number of things that I've learned is that everything that we think is literally just a thought. It's just a thought. It's not even real. And we're recovering foodies, we're recovering addicts, and so we will never really be rid of these thoughts. So for us it's like, eat, go on, eat, just eat a little something, have a little something, eat. And as a result of therapy, I have discovered that there is an exceptionally frightened little girl inside of me, little Katie. So she has been named Little Katie, and it was only through therapy that I discovered that this little girl lives inside of me literally every day. And for my whole 48 years, I never really acknowledged her. I just thought, you know, I've had horrific childhood trauma, really Netflix series childhood trauma. One day it will make me my millions. But what therapy taught me was I actually had to acknowledge her as a human being that lived inside me. I was carrying this child around inside of me, and she was scared and she was frightened and she was petrified. And because I have spent my whole life ignoring this trauma, and at times, you know, she would come up and reappear, and I just ignored her. I never acknowledged this horrific trauma that had happened to me. But as a result, my go-to was food, and it became a serious addiction to the point where I had to have weight loss surgery. So therapy just taught me, he said to me, you know, I can't fix you. I literally cannot fix you. And I looked at him, like it was like the second or third session in, and I was like, what do you mean you can't fix me? He said, I am never, ever going to be able to heal you from what you've been through. He said, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you to live with someone. And I was like looking at him, what are you talking about? And it was only because he was handsome that I stayed doing the therapy. It's so bad. But he was really handsome. So I was kind of like, oh, that's nice to look at. It's a nice afternoon out. And he said, I can't fix you. And he said, but you have got this little girl inside of you. And if you don't start acknowledging her trauma and listening to her, you will never, ever learn to live with her. You will never silence this voice in your head. And if you see my video on tribes, it's the same thing. It's about calming the voice, not ignoring the voice, not turning away from the voice. It's about acknowledging the voice, because it's a thought, and that thought comes from somewhere really deep inside you, and that thought is trauma. So we all have been through something that has caused us to use food like a drug. So what I have been taught is that every time, and in the early days, I literally used to have to say, and he taught me this, he'd say, you have to say it out loud so that she hears you. So a thought would come in and it would be like, eat, go on, eat. You're going to get on a train. You're going to have no food for an hour. Eat. You've got to eat. You're going to go into a meeting. You could be 2 hours. What if the meeting overruns? And that was the narrative constantly in my head. What if? Because what if I didn't eat? What was the consequence? She was telling me I was going to die. I was going to die if I didn't eat, because that was the childhood trauma. And that was, I thought I was going to die. I stood age 7 for nearly a month looking at my mum's coffin, and my dad would bring packed lunches and say, there's nothing else to eat. If you don't eat this, there's nothing else to, you will starve to death. Oof. So I had to acknowledge this little girl, this very, very frightened little girl. So every time a thought came in post-surgery, I would literally say out loud, I'd literally say out loud, I know, I'm scared too. I'm really frightened. I'm really, really frightened. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to have a drink. Let's have a little drink. Let's just sit down. I'm scared, you're scared. I'm scared, you're scared. This is all the words that he taught me. I had to say it loud, so I'd go, I'm scared as well. And my husband would say, who are you talking to? I was like, oh, nothing. And then I go, yeah, I'm scared. I'd be on trains, literally going, I've got no food on me. I'm going to die. And I can't tell you how many times I crumpled and broke and just fed her post-surgery. And every day she would literally just constantly be scared. And each day I'd go, yeah, no, I hear you, yeah, I hear you. We can have a little drink. Let's have a little drink. And eventually she started negotiating with me. Bizarrely, after about 3 or 4 weeks, I could literally hear her saying back to me, it sounds crazy, all right then, have a drink. Like a petulant child, because that's what she was. She was a frightened little child that in all these years she had never been listened to. And so I go, okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, we're going to have a drink. Let's have a drink. And she'd go, all right then, let's have a drink. Go on, smart ass, have a drink. So I'd have a massive drink. I'll go to her, we're going to set the timer. Should we set the timer? And then I promise you, and this was all going on, sometimes out loud, sometimes in my head, and I'd say to her, I promise you, if you're still hungry in half an hour, I'm going to feed you, okay? Because we only ate like an hour ago. And she literally slowly, it was like this frenetic, crazy bitch child going, to going, oh, so you're listening to me? All right then, go on then. It literally was like that. I can't even describe to you how crazy this must sound, but literally it was like that. And every day she'd go, oh, please just give me a little something. We're getting on the train. I go, I've got some stuff in my bag. Literally, this was the narrative. I've got stuff in my bag. It's fine. We're going to be fine. Let's take some drink with us. So that was it. Within 6 to 8 weeks, this little girl just, for the first time in my life, just went whoosh and stopped and became silent, because for the first time in my life, she was like, somebody's listening to me, somebody's acknowledging me, and somebody is nurturing me and caring me, because I'm scared, Big Katie. And for the first time in my life, my brain just silenced. And now every day without fail, she pops up and goes, go on, feed me. She doesn't scream anymore. She goes, feed me. So I feed her. And then I say, okay, you're fed now. That's your breakfast. You've had your breakfast. We're going to drink all morning now. And then at lunchtime, she'll go, a little bit peckish. And I'll say, not quite yet. And literally that's the narrative. So what I'd say to you is just try it. Just try listening to this voice and literally give him or her an alternative and just say, no, I hear you, I acknowledge you, but you know what, we're going to have a little drink. Because I guarantee you, like, I am so confident in this method now that I guarantee you within 6 to 8 weeks, you will have conquered this trauma inside of you to go, I'm all right. And I am 4 years and nearly 2 months out. And let me tell you, I have never once put a single ounce of weight on, not a pound. Maybe when I've got my period, when I walk to London and my body swells up, I will put on a pound in weight in fluid. But let me tell you, I have not put an ounce on, not even in lockdown, not an ounce, because I do not have to do that behaviour anymore. So just give it a go, because I tell you, it takes a lot of practice, and it takes a want and a need to heal yourself. If you don't want to do this, and you do not want to acknowledge the trauma, and you want to keep grazing, do you know what? Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Because this really simple method worked for me, and I know it works. This guy was one of the best cognitive behavioural therapists in the Southeast, and it was so simple. And now little Katie, oh my God, we're like best friends. We are literally like best friends, because she knows I am never going to ignore her. I'm going to acknowledge her trauma. So just give it a go, and literally start doing it out loud, and then silently he or she or they or them will calm down. All right, diners. Take care. Sorry it's a long one, but I hope it's worth it. Lots of love. Take care.